One of the most versatile tools I have in my shop is the miter saw. It just can do all kinds of things for you. And if you want to use it to make a lot of repeated cuts, boards of the same length, then what you're going to need to add to your miter saw is a stop block. If that has interest to you, stick around. I'm going to show you how to do that. I do a lot of DIY projects on this channel, as well as many other things, such as camping, even sewing. If you're interested in little projects that I do and you'd like to learn the things that I'm learning, you might want to subscribe. We'll have some fun.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I have a DeWalt compound miter sliding miter saw DWS 709, and I would like to add a stop block to it. I'd like to be able to add it to the existing fence, but I can't add it to the front because I don't want to disturb anything that would be sliding along. So what I decided to do was add it to the back, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So I wanted my stop block to fit along the back of my fence here. So I could slide my stop block along here and set my increments to saw. One of the things that I had to deal with is there's a spline behind the fence here that sticks out away from the fence, about 1/2 inch. So what I did was I just took a board and measured where I needed to be for that spline, put a block behind the board to keep it out away from the saw, and then I just brought my saw down just enough to cut through, and I had to slide it over a little bit because it's wider than the blade, to cut through that just enough so it would fit over that spline. So having done that, I was able to put that piece and it fit right over that spline perfectly, and now it's nice and flat against the fence. The second thing I needed to do was to get my stop block board actually mounted to the back of my fence. Now you see here, right now I'm just using a test piece of board that if I mess it up, it's no big deal. I'll just come back and do it again. But I wanted to mount it behind the fence like that. One of the issues I had is that the screws had to be flush, or at least flush or inset a bit from the fence here. So when I was sliding wood across here, it wouldn't catch on the screws. To accomplish that, I had to drill in just a little bit with a countersink bit. Not very much, just a little bit. Once I had these beveled out such that the screw head would fit, then all I had to do was to drill through these holes, through the center of these holes, through the back of the board. Then I could attach that, and it would be attached to the same place every time. I found that a number 10 screw fit in there perfectly. I could slide it through the board, and it would go in far enough that it would not impede any boards that I wanted to slide down the fence. I found that I could just use a flat washer and a wing nut. And that would be an easy way to put this board on and off the miter saw when I wanted to use it or put it away. The next piece was that I needed to find a way to be able to slide my block up and down this arm so I could set it at whatever interval I chose and then lock it down so it would stay there when I wanted to repeat cuts. I decided that I would use a piece of T-track that I would mount on top of this, and then I could put my stop block through a knob like that. Then, once this was mounted, I could slide the stop block anywhere I wanted and then just tighten it down to stop it. The next piece was to design the stop block itself. So I wanted it to be able to rest on here, slide up and down, actually rest on the T-track and slide up and down. So now I started thinking about the final way I would design this. I had some hard maple that had been used prior to this for another project that I thought would be ideal to have hardwood along this track and for my stop block. So all I had to do was drill some holes, put two pieces together, so that would fit on top of that into the T-track. I could screw it down, then when I needed to stop it, it would stop. To adjust it, I just needed to loosen the handle, slide it, and stop it again at the next stop. The final board that I used was the leftover piece of 1x4 maple hardwood. And you can see that I cut my slice in here to fit over the spline, lined it up and put my two holes in there. Now, when I want to mount it, all I have to do is put it right there. The screws fit in perfectly. Use a washer and a wing nut on the back. Just that quickly, the block is mounted. My stop block is pretty close to the original design that I had before. I have one piece here, shaped with an L coming across here. I decided that I would use two of the screw tighteners that go into the T-track, and also I just screwed a second piece out here so I would have more to butt up against when I put it on the saw. So to mount it, quickly get those T-track lined up. Once you get them in there, slides just fine. Put it where you want it. Tighten it down. In fact, I made a mark, just for the heck of it, where 16 inches would be. Right there. And if I cut a board there, I guarantee you it will be 16 inches. So the project worked out really well. But I hope you enjoyed this project. It really wasn't very difficult to do. It probably took me, I don't know, maybe 5 hours, 6 hours to do this, but I was trying to figure things out as I went along. Hopefully, using the instructions I gave you as a base, you could probably knock this out in 2 or 3 hours, and I think it's going to be a handy little stop block Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you think it was worthwhile, and I appreciate you watching.